So the other day, I woke up and realized that I had not charged my battery prior to leaving for work overnight. So when I woke up, I knew that I had 50% battery because I usually keep my batteries around 50%. I had about an hour and a half before leaving, so I hooked it up to the charger to see about how high I could get it before leaving the house. My commute is about 15 miles. The bike I was planning on using was the Freesky Warrior, which is a dual motor, 2,000 watt total, 1,000 watts per hub, and it has a 25 amp hour 48 volt system. When I put the battery on the bike, it initially read about 80%, but almost immediately went down to around 79%. So I think it was probably closer to 79% just from the start. Usually I would start a 15-mile commute with 100% just because the commute takes me on some fast roads and there is some aggressive traffic on my route. I initially started the commute in single hub mode, and by 1 mile I had already gone from about 80% down to 73%, and this is an easy portion of the commute, although there are some hills early on. In the middle here, this is actually about a third of the way through. This is about the 4 mile mark, and this is probably the most level area of the whole commute. You'll notice that it stays fairly consistent. So at 4 miles, I'm down to about 59%, still staying in rear hub only. That way, I'm using less battery. The bike with dual motors will easily cruise around 34-35 miles per hour. In single motor, typically will top out around 28 miles per hour. Now I am pedaling also, but that's a habit I just have developed over the years, and it's a preference. I'm not sure how much that actually increases the battery. By 8 miles, I'm down to about 45%. At this point, I'm still using just a single motor, but I am about 2 miles from the point where I'm going to have to switch to dual motor just because the road gets significantly faster. I'm still in speed limits of 25 to 30 miles per hour, but I'm soon going to hit a road where the speed limit is 35 miles per hour, but cars will typically go 45 to 50 miles per hour, and they also drive very aggressively. And this is that road now. So at this point, I've hit about 11 miles on the commute, and this is the faster road. So I've already switched over to dual motor. I've only been on dual motor for maybe half a mile at this point, but I'm still pedaling fairly aggressively. I've gone 11 miles, started out 80%, and the battery level has maintained fairly well. My speeds have ranged between about 24 to 32 miles per hour for the most part. With single motor, it'll be about 25-ish to 28 miles per hour. But as you can see, I'm well under 40% on the battery now. And in dual motor at 40 degrees Fahrenheit, with the hills coming and the higher speeds, it's going to go down much more quickly. There is only about 4 miles left on the commute, but this is the high speed and hilly portion. So now I'm at the end of the ride. I've gone 15 miles. The last 4 miles has been uphill, and it's finished with 13% battery. Now, some of that I think is just some drain. I think if I were to turn it off and turn it back on, it would actually probably be more like 15%. But it was no real problem. And in the duration was only about 4 minutes slower than normal. Usually I can do that commute in about 35 minutes. It took me 39-ish minutes. So all in all, it wasn't a bad experience.